Good evening and welcome. It is now 6:30 and I call this March 10th, 2020 meeting of the Northern London School District to order. Director Murray will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And you can all bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Be seated.
Mrs. Martin, may I have a roll call, please?
All members are present.
Thank you. I would like to announce that an executive session will be held immediately following this meeting to discuss personnel issues. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second? May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless I hear nay or abstain. The motion has passed. The high school students of the month for March are Harrison Lurch and Kai Whitman. This award is sponsored jointly by the Fredericksburg and Jonestown Lions Clubs, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Lions Club. Are either of the students here this evening? The middle school student of the month for March is Abigail Palkovich. This award is sponsored by the Northern London County Rotary Club, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Rotary Club. Is Abigail here? We congratulate these students and thank the Rotary and Lions Clubs for their support. We have a presentation by our Student Board Representative, Hannah Colombo.
Hello everybody, thank you for giving me your attention. Today I will be going over the King of Hearts dance in the upcoming musical. King of Hearts had a better guest count than we expected. The decorations were amazing and people seemed to like the music and food. Make sure to come see them in Wizard of Oz on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are going to be at 7, and then the Sunday one is at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. And we have a second presentation by our secondary students to discuss National Kick Butts Day.
Good evening, I'm a representative of our middle school peer helpers, and I've come to address some things that my peers and I will be doing to spread awareness about smoking, vaping, and other harmful activities. With the guidance of Mrs. Schaefer and Mrs. Tavani, we are going to plan events that take place both during and after school, as well as events for parents and students in the community. These events and activities will include presentations for each grade level, a Kick Butt event for National Kick Butt Day on March 18th, and various other activities. As a group, we believe that smoking and newer forms of nicotine delivery systems are very harmful. Education and awareness needs to be spread about these newer ways nicotine is being consumed before teens possibly and unknowingly get hurt or even worse, pass away. Together, my peers and I are creating a true group or tobacco resistance unit. Teens, along with their parents, need to be educated with all the efforts made between the community and school. Teens and parents will be educated helping to tackle the nationwide nicotine epidemic.
Thank you for that.
And guys, I already heard Mr. Chestnut say he's got homework and needs to go. Don't feel like you're welcome to stay, but don't feel like you have to stay. There are things you need to do. These meetings are incredibly exciting, so I don't know why anybody would want to go, but
Next on the agenda, we have our superintendent's report.
A lot going on. I wanted to share one thing that just happened this past Friday. Middle school had their mini-thon, and they did raise $26,215.86, which is, I think, up about $9,000 from last year, if I remember correctly. But definitely up, and so they did a great job with that. Tomorrow night is Reinventing Learning from across the IU. We have students from each district going. Mrs. Tiffany Hogg, who's here tonight, is taking a group tomorrow. And if you're interested in going to that, it's at the IU. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock. Also, tomorrow night, the basketball team is in the state playoffs. They made it to the second round. They're playing at Shamokin. That's also at 6 o'clock. We will be presenting some musicians and athletes at our April meetings to be recognized. Quite a few kids doing quite a bit of good things. In addition to that, musical starts on Thursday as well. Some of you may have seen a preview. There was a preview for senior citizens and for kids today, as a matter of fact. But that starts Thursday, so get your tickets and come to that. Also, just one public statement in terms of budget information. As per the timeline, preliminary, we're putting together our preliminary presentation. I've asked the board for feedback in terms of presenting and questions so that we are prepared to publicly go through that presentation in April. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Is there any old business for discussion this evening? Hearing none, we will move on to the public input session. Interested persons must complete a written request to address the board form prior to the public input session. These individuals will be acknowledged by the board president. When addressing the board, please state your name and address prior to sharing your comments. When speaking, please come to the podium. A 4-minute time period will be granted to those addressing the board, and Director Nam will keep the time. And we have one request to speak this evening, and that is Mr. Andrew Murphy.
Andrew Murphy, 1828 Blacksbridge Road. Once again, I want to talk about the track. Yeah, I took a walk on it, and yes, it does need repair, definitely. However, as I was talking with Gary tonight, he's told me that they already have on order stuff to repair the track because they want to be ready for this season, which that's great, and that's what should be done. However, why don't we continue to repair instead of replace till the feasibility is done? Give them a couple months to do your feasibility study as you're trying to figure out what to do with your school. Whether you're repairing, modifications, replacing. So then you spend the money once rather than just spend it and then, oh, we're going to move the school. I don't know where you guys are going to put the school, a new school, because you got to have the school here for the students while you're building whatever you build, should you do that. I'm just saying, wait a couple months till you have your plan of what you're going to do so that you're doing it all together and not just throwing good money after bad. And I'm very interested to see next month's budget workshop because I want to know where you guys are cutting. I'm hoping that you'll have a budget neutral or on the plus side of where you end up, but I don't know what you're going to cut yet.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. We appreciate your comments. Moving on to item J, items for board action. We have our consent calendar. This consent agenda includes items 1 through 19. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I will be abstaining from item J19. My son has been identified as a potential member of the summer work crew. And I have already filed my paperwork with the secretary.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, this is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain.
I abstain on J19.
Thank you. Motion has passed. Moving on to item L. Items for board action, the discussion items. Item number 1 is to approve the request from Sharon Mennonite Fellowship for tax forgiveness on a clean and green property. May I have a motion to approve the tax forgiveness request as presented?
I will make the motion.
May I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Martin, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Gray,
No.
Erdman,
No.
Fowler,
No.
Marlowe,
No.
Murray,
No.
Klein,
No.
Sekelic,
No.
Nom,
Yes.
Bucks,
No.
1 yes, 8 no, motion denied.
Item number 2 is to approve the bid from ATT Sports in the amount of $455,820 for the track renovations. May I have a motion to approve the running track renovations project as presented?
Make a motion to approve?
May I have a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I had asked at the last meeting for this to be on the discussion agenda. I think it's important to state that, as a member from the public had indicated, I have also walked the track. I've identified, and I believe that the track is in a very poor state of disrepair. There are places on the track that have had some repairs, and temporary repairs need to be done on it, but that is not a long-term solution in my opinion. The track at this point and going forward is going to be an issue of student-athlete safety. I think that that replacing it is of the utmost priority. A question was raised about, the potential feasibility study and what we may or may not do. I think it's important to state that no decisions have been made as to what's going to happen. I would also note that in the interview process with architects, there were a few schematics that were presented for us just as concepts. I think maybe 10 options were presented, maybe a couple more or less. I think only one had indicated the potential to move the track, and I think that going forward in the feasibility study would be reasonable for us, to the extent we make this investment, to note that we would like to not have the track moved considering the investment. So I don't think that that's necessarily an immediate obstacle, although I do think it's an important one for us to consider, but going forward I believe that this investment is necessary. Last thought is that I know that there are a couple of options for a less expensive, at least initial investment to replace the track, but over the long term, based on the data that we've seen from Dr. Messinger, I think the long-term cost impact of either of those two less expensive options would end up costing the district more.
Just to piggyback that, I think Mr. Murphy did bring up a great question there. It's something for us to consider. I do not think that while we will repair it for this year so that we can hold home track meets, I do not think that the track will continue to be able to support that. We would have to, for the safety of our students, we would have to move track meets to a different location if that were the case, if we don't go ahead and do something. I will give you my word, Mr. Murphy, that we will make sure to, if at all possible, to avoid building or doing anything to that track. And again, I think that's a long ways off. We really like public input, and that's why we are looking at the architect to gather that information. But I'll do everything in my power to prevent it from spending additional money, if at all possible. So Just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Is there any other discussion on that item? Then we will move forward with the vote. This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Item number 3 on the discussion agenda, approve Accelerate Education as a third-party provider to implement new digital curriculum for our virtual academy. May I have a motion to approve Accelerate Education as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Item number 4 is to approve the architectural services fee schedule between Crabtree, Rohrbach and Associates and Northern Lebanon School District. May I have a motion to approve architectural services from CRA as presented?
I move.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Item number 5. Administration recommends termination of Matthew Lord from his employment with the district. May I have a motion to approve the termination as presented? May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless you say nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. Item M on our agenda, reports from representatives. First up, we have our Career and Technology Center report. Our representative is Director Klein.
All of you have the newsletter for February at your seat, and we talked about it last committee meeting about the bond that will save us approximately $90,000. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Next, our representative for IU13, Director Murray.
Yes, the February report was attached for you all to review, and as Dr. Messinger reported, tomorrow is the Reinventing Learning. If anybody wanted to join us, I'm excited to see all that's happening in the Lebanon and Lancaster schools and get excited about education tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Lastly, we have our legislative PSBA liaison, Director Sapelli. Thank you. I'd like to point out a few dates to remember. As Dr. Messinger pointed out, our musical is happening this week, Thursday through Sunday. April 1st is our senior citizen luncheon at 1 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. We meet again for our committee board meeting on April 7th, and then shortly after that we have our Easter break. Is there any other new business for discussion this evening? Next, then we have item O, our presentation by the Lebanon County Dairy Promotion Team.
Hi, I'm Raven Baser, the Lebanon County Ultimate Dairy Princess, and I'm currently a junior here at Northern Lebanon, and I just want to tell you guys what the Dairy Royalty Court does. We go around to different schools, to different elementary schools, to stores, to banquets, to educate the public about the importance of dairy in your diet. Because you need 3 servings of dairy in your diet to build strong bones and teeth. Because children without dairy products are gaining Children without dairy products in their diet are more prone to being obese, and they are, without dairy products in their diet, they will get osteoporosis when they get older. So it is important to have dairy products in their diet. So I'm going to pass that over to Paige.
Good evening, everyone. As she said, my name is Paige Piper. I actually work right alongside of Raven. I ran for the Lebanon County Dairy Princess title back in May, and then I ran once again for the state title back in September, and I won. So I'm a full-time senior at Cedar Crest, and I'm also serving an internship as the Pennsylvania Dairy Princess. I have lived on a dairy farm for all of my life. It has helped me to see the amount of determination and perseverance it takes to succeed, and also helped me develop a strong passion for agriculture. That passion for agriculture is what led me here today, but that journey hasn't been easy. Our small farm lost its milk contract with Dean Foods about 2 years ago, essentially leaving us with two options. One, to search for another milk market, or two, to sell out. We were given a second chance and were fortunate to be picked up by Harrisburg Dairies, but we were only the lucky ones. Because we were given another opportunity, I felt inspired to serve as Dairy Princess and give back to the dairy industry. This crown and sash gives me a microphone and a platform to educate consumers on where their food comes from. So far, I've been able to talk with kids, parents, government officials, and everyone else in between the benefits of dairy, not just nutritionally, but also in our communities and economy as well. I am determined to make this year count, and that is why I'm here speaking in front of you all today. As Dairy Princess, I have made two goals for myself: to educate and to promote. First, to educate the consumers about the dairy industry, break the bad stigma of dairy and dairy products, and showcase dairy farming practices. Second, to promote. To promote dairy, emphasize the role that it has in our diets, and most importantly, push for getting whole milk back into our schools. Those are some key goals that I have set for myself, and I feel as though as a school board, you can help me to achieve some of those goals. Education is a top priority for any school, and because of that, we learn everything from how electricity is made in chemistry and physics to learning how to create art and art. One key element that I think is missing in our school's curriculum, not necessarily in the high school level, but throughout elementary and middle school education, is the exposure to the agriculture industry and where our food comes from. Serving as a Dairy Princess and talking with hundreds of students all across PA has opened my eyes. It has made me see what a privilege being in production agriculture really is. Too many times I've met kids who thought their food came from a grocery store, was made and produced right then and there. The average American is around 3 to 4 generations removed away from a farm or from agriculture altogether, which explains the lack of education. One of the ways to combat this issue is to incorporate agriculture and agriculture topics within lessons. Agriculture is an amazing industry that is packed with math, technology, and science, all things that are currently important for students to learn. Programs like Discover Dairy, which is currently being passed around at the moment, offers free lesson plans, interactive games, and different opportunities for children to be exposed to the industry that feeds the world. To truly prepare students for the real world, we need to teach students how to be educated consumers, and it has to start with agriculture education. I appreciate the efforts that have already been made, such as your strong support of the Northern Lebanon FFA and everything that they do for the agriculture industry, and I hope to see more efforts like this in the future. But while education is a really important factor, students' nutritional needs are a key part as well. It's any school's responsibility to provide fresh, nutritious meals to students, and I have to commend schools for providing a variety of options to choose from despite the harsh guidelines that are imposed upon the National School Lunch Program. However, those same guidelines that allows us to have those healthy, balanced meals are also the same guidelines that constricts and limits cafeterias, and in some instances wipes out whole nutrients like fat completely off the menu. As a result, whole milk and 2% milk was banned from schools' cafeterias, and in return, 2 million fewer students are currently drinking milk along with their meals. Taste is so important for children, and it's a driving factor as to why they are choosing sugary sodas, juices, and teas over a nutrient-packed product like milk. With lower consumption rates, those 9 essential nutrients, including calcium, potassium, phosphorus, vitamins A and D, aren't being included in the diets of children. With milk providing the top source of calcium among Americans, and with nearly half of Americans getting their vitamin D from milk, schools should be promoting the benefits of milk every single chance they can get. And the easiest first step would be to include whole milk along with other full-fat dairy products as a part of their students' meals. But that is so much more easy to say than it is actually to implement in our school systems because of the guidelines that are already set in place. As a school board, you have the influential power to join the support for getting whole milk back into our schools. Whole milk has been proven to decrease childhood obesity, aids in brain development, and keeps kids fuller longer, which prevents overeating and prepares their kids for the rest of their school day. For those reasons and more, I urge you all as a school board to think about sending a support letter to our state representatives and congressmen such as Glenn Thompson, who has already introduced a Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act in 2019. For things to change in our cafeterias, things need to change on the federal level, and with your support, it will make a tremendous impact and will help to push this movement even further. If you guys have any questions, we will be serving ice cream after the meeting is done. We would love to hear your feedback and any questions we would love to answer. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paige.
Is there any other items for the good of the order this evening? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn?
Any discussion? This is a unanimous roll call vote. Your vote will be recorded in the affirmative unless I hear nay or I abstain. The motion has passed. The meeting is adjourned.
All the learning opportunities are gone.